Islam, y'all, and welcome to this week's Moorish Mommy Sunday Brunch. I am your presenter, Sister Tahida Najee-Ullah of CalifaMedia.com, mrcicharities.org, and riseofthemoors.org. Usually, my lovely AI assistant, Danielle, reads off these presentations for me, but this week I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to share the slightly traumatizing backstory behind this week's teachings that, Allah willing, will add deeper meaning to the importance of Moorish American women establishing and maintaining social boundaries. So, this video will begin with the slightly traumatizing backstory / inspiration behind this week's presentation, followed with supporting instructions from the Moslem Girls Training Guide, aka Sisters Auxiliary Guidebook, read by my lovely AI assistant, Danielle. Before we begin, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that this may be spread widely, if for no other reason than to assure like minds they are joyfully not so unique in this particular opinion. And last thing was the Moorish Mommy Sunday Brunch update and the inspiration behind this week's update, or this week's brunch, because it was supposed to be okay, cool, I got 10 minutes. Let me see if I can get this done in 10 minutes, because the video teaching about it will be up tomorrow at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. So this is just like a preview. All right. So I'm glad that the more this, I'm not going to say who it is, but the more who inspired this is in the room. And no, it's not Cujo. All right. So, it was supposed to be keeping your house clean. Because I've been to some houses. I don't like doing this, but I can't help it. It's like a reflex, right? That kind of thing, because of how I keep my house. But that'll be in, I guess, 4 weeks, because the second Moorish Mommy Sunday Brunch, I'll be in Georgia. Hope y'all will be there too. We can actually have brunch. The inspiration behind this one is, it's called Keepers of Virtue, right? Because I grew up Muslim, for those who don't know, and that's what the women were called. We were told to always remember the gateway to paradise and the keeper of virtue, all right? And a big part of being the keeper of virtue is being the keeper of boundaries, okay? What's boundaries? Well, it's the limits that we set that are particular to our people, right? That kind of thing. And Islam, and thank y'all for being here. I appreciate this. I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I just want to go over this real quick because there's another video covering it in depth tomorrow. So, this one, I decided to go with the Keepers of Virtue because it was inspired by recent events and upcoming events, right? The recent event that inspired it, it was recent to me because time is flying, was in July when we were at the Moorish meetup, right? And I walked in like, hey, Moors, everywhere it's Moors, right? And I'm just walking there like, oh, there's an empty seat. And a brother Moor jumps up and gives me a hug. I was caught off guard. I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, not this, just okay. That kind of thing. And then it hit me like, uh-oh, here we go. I'm not a touchy-feely person, that kind of thing. Even my children know, yeah, go ahead, just get over it, that kind of thing, right? Even though, whatever. It's not a trauma thing or anything. It's just like, So, anyway, so I'm like, okay, whatever. He caught me off guard. I give him a hug. Oh, everybody saw that. Because in my typical life, don't touch me. I was raised Muslim. I think I led with that. Don't touch me, right? I even had a brother tell me once, yeah, please remember, my cat is behind me playing with something, that for a brother to even walk up to you without a proper introduction, in most cultures, it's like him walking up and dropping his pants. That's inappropriate. He needs to take the effort to find somebody that knows you and request a proper introduction. So, of course, you don't let them touch you. You don't let those straight. I never met this Moor before, right? But it was a Moor. I'm like, I ain't been around Moor in like years. So, and he caught me off guard. So I'm like, whatever, right? And everybody saw it's like, so if sisters know this one, like, oh, darn, I let one. I got to let the other ones do it now. That. So that whole weekend was ruined by that. Not ruined, because so if you gave me a hug that weekend and I was just kind of like, ew, You got the impression like she don't like this, you've picked it up. It's nothing personal. It was for everybody, right? I just don't like that stuff. It's probably a lot to do with how I was raised, right? How we were raised, like, no. And even in California, I give it up to the Moors in California, how they were encouraging the sisters to be like, as soon as a dude reaches, and if you haven't seen the photo of the meetup, I'll post it somewhere. It's a brother going in for a hug. And the sister's like, nah. She's like, I'm trying to politely tell you don't. Right? I'm not trying to. But my thing is, it's just like, don't be polite. I'm learning, don't be polite. Just be like Islam. Right? And I wonder if that's why we were given this. No. It's like you're guarding I love that it's you touching your heart. But you really are guarding yourself. Like, cross. Do I need to do the whole thing? You know, it'd be like, it's cool, give me a high. No. So I'm just saying, because if you notice, a lot of sisters aren't comfortable with that. They just like, that's how they're like, okay, right? And my thing is, if you can't, and this goes for brothers and sisters, if you can't with all women, don't with any women, right? Can I hug them brothers and sisters? Can you or can he hug that man's wife? There you go. Real simple, right? And it keeps things real proper and on the level, that kind of thing. And why did I choose this one? Because we have an event coming up. And I'm letting you know now, if you show up, don't touch me, right? I'm not trying to be rude about it. You know, people say I'm kind of blunt, but what? He's like, oh, please, could you be considerate and just you know, don't touch me. Right? Because here's why. I've been on the verge of ruining my life a few times, and I'm wondering if I actually did it. But I'm having a good time, so that's why I'm wondering. Where I test the wisdom of the ancients, especially the women's side, because I figured the men, y'all can do your own thing, and that's not my place to teach men, right? So I'm testing all the stuff that was put in place for women and kept in place for women. One of which is arranged marriages. I'll get on that later, right? And another of which is, if that is an unrelated woman, don't talk to her. Just stay away from her until you've been given a proper introduction or something. And it shows that you've been vetted for her safety, especially in these days and times, for her safety. All right. So, going back to that. So this was inspired by prior events and upcoming events. So the prior events, like I said, I was giving Morris hugs all over the place. I didn't like it. And I'm just like, nope. And I'm looking at the women who were married. It's like, okay, I want that. People are just like greeting them and that's it. Keeping their hands to themselves. That kind of thing. And I'm like, am I tripping? I wasn't tripping. This is the fun part. I wasn't tripping because after the event was over and I returned home and everybody else, I guess, went back to where they came from. I'm kind of slow when it comes to this stuff, admittedly. I'm really, you know how it is if like you're blind, you can hear or smell real well? Yeah, I'm socially blind, okay? So I'm like, okay, what is this kind of thing? Whatever, you know. I think of myself as a guy around guys. Like, whatever, sure. What's wrong with you? That kind of thing. And then I get home and I get 3 phone calls, right? And then one of them is actually says, I'm trying to push up on you. Quote. And then another one was followed by, is your hand free? So if you know what that means in the Moorish lore, it's your hand free. If you don't, learn something. Yeah, the Lord, I told him this, and you're going to come up again. So I'm like, okay, see? That's why those hugs from those 3 individuals became more numerous and more lingering. Okay? None of that would have happened if I had cut it off at jump. Don't touch me. Let's start from there. Don't touch me. That kind of, it's nothing personal. This is for everybody, except women and children. Don't touch me. Actually, not even women, because I've had a woman who, I don't know, a cross spirit woman, 2-spirit. I'm trying to be respectful because it's like, hey, Allah made you that way for a reason, that kind of thing. So no disrespect, but I've had women push up on me too, more than once. So women don't touch me either, now that I think about it. And the Moor, I didn't even realize that was what was going on until I shared it with the Moor in passing. And he was like, I knew it. I saw it the whole time. And then he started laughing at me. So anyway, to avoid all that, don't touch me. And the one who was laughing at me, you don't touch me either. But you've absolved yourself because this Moor volunteered to be my rooster stopper. I don't know. I don't want to say the real word, right? Let's see if you show up. Let's see if you can guess who he is. So yeah, that's all I got. And I'll be going into detail on that, especially how that's actually in the Sisters Auxiliary Guide, which isn't just for sisters. It's really interesting how the men have a couple of chapters in the Quran, and the women have their own book. What does that tell you? How important it is to get her straight, to make sure everybody's straight, right? So don't touch me, and do the sisters a favor and just walk up to them. Islam, sister. Take your hand, put it behind your back. Take the other one, put it on your chest. Guess what you just did? You disarmed her. She's like, oh, who is this? I'm just saying, don't say I never gave y'all nothing. That kind of thing. And that's 29 minutes and 51 seconds. I'm done. All right. So if you have any questions or whatever, you can get in touch with me at islam@califamedia.com. That's CALIFA media.com, or rise at riseofthemoors.org, right? Get our shirt. Like my shirt? Yeah, get this shirt in any color. I'll be putting it up there. And all the money goes to keep the site up. So when because people are still contacting me, talking about, I like your stuff and how you're malicious. They think this is still connected to Jamal. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this for. So Islam to y'all Moors, and I'll catch up with y'all.
Peace, family. Today, we're continuing our journey of self-cultivation by discussing a topic that's foundational to our personal integrity and the spiritual standards we uphold as Moorish women. Our discussion will center around the importance of avoiding physical contact with unrelated males. Now, this might seem like a strict boundary in today's world, but it's one of the most powerful ways we honor ourselves, protect our spirit, and maintain the dignity of our community. Let's start by reminding ourselves why these standards are essential. As Moorish women, we hold a unique and sacred responsibility. We are the mothers of civilization. And because of this, every action we take, every boundary we set, every value we uphold sends a message, both to ourselves and to others, about what it means to be truly noble. Our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, reminded us of the importance of maintaining high moral standards, and our text, the Moslem Girls Training Guide, reinforces this guidance, shaping how we interact, how we carry ourselves, and how we honor the responsibilities of our position. In our culture, we understand that physical contact isn't just an action, it's an exchange of energy. When we touch or come into physical contact with others, we share something of ourselves. This is why Moorish women are taught to be careful and intentional with touch, especially when it comes to men we're not related to. Our ancestors understood the significance of personal space and physical integrity. They valued these boundaries because they recognized that every physical interaction carries weight and meaning. Setting boundaries with unrelated males isn't about limiting our lives. It's about empowering us to maintain control over our energy, our emotions, and our intentions. When we keep our physical space, we demonstrate respect for ourselves, and we establish that our bodies are sacred. Just as we wouldn't allow just anyone into our homes, we wouldn't allow unrestricted access to our personal space. Avoiding physical contact with unrelated men is part of preserving the purity that the Moslem Girls Training Guide speaks to. Maintaining physical boundaries shows that we take pride in our role as Moorish women. Our guide emphasizes that a Muslim woman is a reflection of Allah's purity, and that this purity is best preserved by limiting contact with others in a way that shows respect for both ourselves and those around us. By setting these boundaries, we protect our peace, reinforce our values, and cultivate an inner strength that radiates outward. Physical boundaries play a huge role in self-cultivation. When we talk about self-cultivation, we're talking about developing our mind, spirit, and body in a way that aligns with our divine nature. Boundaries protect us from unnecessary distractions and negative influences. When we avoid casual physical contact, we remain in control of our energy, allowing us to focus on our growth and on the things that truly matter. Self-cultivation is about elevating our spiritual well-being. Physical contact with unrelated males can bring emotional confusion or lead to misunderstandings about intentions. We know that emotions are tied to touch, and when we allow ourselves to become emotionally entangled with those who aren't part of our spiritual journey, we can find ourselves off track. By avoiding physical contact, we preserve our emotional clarity, giving ourselves room to focus on personal growth and self-improvement. Now, let's be clear. Setting these boundaries isn't always easy, especially in a society that often encourages casual interactions. But remember, Moorish women don't look to society for validation. We look to our history, to our traditions, and to our divine principles. By holding fast to these values, we honor the legacy of those who came before us and protect the integrity of those who will come after us. This self-cultivation isn't only for our personal benefit, it uplifts our entire community. When we set boundaries around physical contact, we also set a standard within our community. Younger Moorish women are watching us. They're observing how we carry ourselves, how we interact, and how we manage our relationships. Every time we uphold these standards, we teach them the importance of self-respect and self-discipline. We show them that Moorish women are grounded in their values and that we don't compromise these values for temporary feelings or fleeting attention. By maintaining these boundaries, we protect our community's reputation. We present ourselves as dignified and principled, reflecting the nobility of our Moorish heritage. We all know how quickly actions can be misinterpreted, especially in today's world. By avoiding unnecessary physical contact, we prevent any misunderstandings, gossip, or potential harm to our reputation. We are constantly representing the Moorish community, and every interaction we have either uplifts or diminishes that image. The Moslem Girls Training Guide reminds us that a Moslem woman's beauty is in her virtue, in her honor, and in her respect for herself and her nation. Upholding these boundaries demonstrates this respect in a very visible way. Our actions speak loudly. When we remain disciplined and dignified, we show others, both inside and outside our community, that we are committed to living by the highest standards. To my sisters, remember that these boundaries we set are not barriers. They are a testament to our self-respect, our values, and our dedication to our community. Choosing not to engage in physical contact with unrelated males isn't just about protecting ourselves. It's about honoring our role as the mothers of civilization and showing future generations what it means to live a life of dignity and virtue. Each of us is a role model, whether we realize it or not. The standards we uphold today set the foundation for those who will come after us. Let's stay committed to our values, even when they challenge us. Let's remember that our strength lies in our ability to hold ourselves to a higher standard, one that reflects the divine light within us. Thank you for joining me in this important discussion. As Moorish women, let us continue to set the example, to embody self-respect, and to honor the legacy of our ancestors. This is how we uplift ourselves, our community, and future generations. Peace and love, family.